Hola.
Hola. Good evening.
Very nice. Good to be back.
Yeah.
I like it.
Very
I
cool.
like the I like the inspiration.
Yeah. I love the spontaneity too. For me today now, that's cool. Very cool.
Well, sweet. So yeah, welcome to the podcast. This is Celeste
Yes.
as a co-host with Lionheart. We've got maybe Giraffe Heart in the
No,
chat.
no.
Not yet. Okay.
Not this time. No. She just
Not this time.
wore out from the weekend.
Oh yeah. Still a party out there. I still hear fireworks around here.
Oh, yeah. Thankfully, it was kind of quiet this weekend,
Hmm.
but enough. Yeah. This is Christ Truth Podcast. Live title is Christ Truth Raises in the Wilderness by God. And then the about, for starter, is the book of Revelation. Has it begun? Is it a message to the world?
Hmm.
And I'm not sure what episode. It's season 2, episode 16, maybe?
Sounds
Something
about
like that.
right.
Yep. Hosted by Celeste and the Lion. This is Lion.
I think we're producing less content, but the content seems to be more, um, yeah, just kind of reaching the need that we're trying to scratch, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And this is a title that I think is, you know, when things are confusing and people feel like it's chaos, a lot of people start talking about end times, and
Yep.
right, that's a story told in the Book of Revelation. So,
Yes.
and we know that there's right this idea of the gospel being a lot of fables and right stories that we can look for deeper inner truths.
Yep.
And I think
Like
that's
the
what we want to talk about with the Book of Revelation, right?
yeah, like that guy said about in that show, The Last Symbol or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Metaphor, contradictions, and
Yeah.
stories. Yes, and yeah, we cover so much, but lately it's been going deeper with the raising of Christ in the wilderness, and
Mm-hmm.
that's pretty awesome. And how it's raised with the vessel of oil, with the oil. Very
Yeah.
awesome. So anyway, yeah, I've been listening to that. So we've been together for a few days.
That's
It's been
awesome.
pretty fun. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, just the idea that you were, so tuned in that you already knew about the new family member before you arrived.
Oh, that was so cool. It was so cool. It's deja vu for sure. Just
Yeah.
not exactly like it, but close. Very
Yeah.
cool.
Very unexpected day yesterday, but right, it's kind of living in the moment, saying, living with a willingness to say yes,
Yep.
whatever perfect provision comes into our life. So
Yes. And
yeah, that's where we're at.
everything that you will have is already part of you. You could not deny that.
Hmm.
In my
Hmm.
perspective.
Well, and when you see this face up close, Kato is just
Uh,
it's
um,
heart stealer, just instant heart stealer, just
I could see
cuddliness.
the.
Oh my
Yeah.
God,
Oh wow. Awesome.
cuddle
Yeah.
factor.
Wow. I could see the eyes for sure.
Yeah, just a deep connection right away. You can feel it. This dog
Yes.
wants to
Cool.
be loved on.
Book of Revelation. What do you think about that yourself? I mean, when you think about that, or how
Well,
do you think
I
about
mean, I honestly believe that every generation known to man has thought they were in end times,
it?
right? And everyone's going to
Exactly.
claim, everybody's going to claim that, right?
Yeah.
Well, these are
Yes.
end times. Everything's so jacked up, right?
When's the end of
But
the age? They're
yeah, of
asking.
course, the thing is, right? It's already finished, right? It's already complete.
Exactly.
Everything's in divine order already.
Awesome.
So why would we keep saying that? But anyway, That's just you asked, so
Well,
I answered.
yeah, no, that's awesome. That because that's it for me. I mean, it depends on how you read it, right? I mean, if you're going to read it, you can read it from ego at any stage. You can get anything out of it from that.
That's true with all of Scripture, right?
Yeah,
You're reading it
and
without
then
your soul's eternal soul's perspective.
what would a book
You're
like
likely
that
misreading
be?
it.
Yeah, what would a book like that be, though? What would it be for? Because of how symbolized it is all the way through. Who could interpret it? Only your soul, right? Only your eternal soul. Only. That's what it's a message for.
Yeah.
Like,
Seems like a lot of people want to just find the symbols, that like we're a culture that's been kind of obsessed with this idea of rituals and code busting or whatever, right? So,
yeah,
but yeah, if you think of it as a metaphor and you try to understand that, everything in the beginning was God's idea, then, start talking about reincarnation and power of the chakras, and then, right,
yeah,
we can pull some things together.
yeah,
But not everybody wants to go there. Not everybody, a lot of folks want to be stuck in the tradition, stuck in the um, ritual of, what it's the only word of God, this
yes,
interpretation is the only word of God.
yeah,
Really?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then when you get down to it, though, when you're actually in, I was smothered in Southern Baptist, and to them, the Catholics were a cult. They were trying to say occult or just bad.
Hmm.
Mormons, they everybody else was missing it. They were the only way.
Yeah.
And I think that's pretty much the way it always shakes out. We're the way. Yeah. And that's the ego. That's where the ego has to get its fix. But eternal soul, there's no thought of judgment, nothing like that. So you read the book and you have all these horrific things if you read it for word, what it's written. But like the angel holding open the little book,
Mm.
we already have that. We're already there. So is it personal or is it a world? Way past that. And then
Mm.
everything in it, just everything we go through. 400 years in bondage, like Moses.
Yeah. And I think, when there's as much suffering as people are seeing in these times, people want to have a way to control what they're thinking, about it. And so by declaring it end times, right, that feels like some control
Well, yeah, that's true. Yeah, yeah, good point. Yeah,
instead of being conscious of just like, how do I need to change the needle with the suffering, with relation to the suffering, I think we talked about it a couple days ago when we were deciding to do this podcast, but right, that idea of another day, another destiny,
yeah,
such
yeah.
in
It is.
such a profound way of interpreting tragedy.
Yes.
Yes, it's tragic. Yes, it should never happen. But for that
Yes.
soul, that was the destiny. That
Yeah.
was always the
Well,
destiny for that soul from the beginning. Just for that iteration of the soul. The soul is going to continue,
yeah.
likely be reincarnated, likely be able to come to a point where they too are in complete Christ consciousness. And I guess we have to say it, right? Since these were all, many of them were school age children, they were
Oh,
already
yeah.
fully
Yeah.
Christ conscious
Yeah.
because they weren't even 11 years old, right? They were not
Yeah.
13. They were not at the age of reason. They had not reached 14.
Yeah.
So they were still fully in green and, if not red, right?
Oh, they're straight to paradise, man.
Yep. Yeah.
Straight to it. Yeah. It's the
So
suffering of the ones left behind without
yeah,
understanding.
yeah, and then they're going to be the
Yeah.
ones who are like, oh, it must be end times because this type of evil, you know, did not exist. And it's true. This kind of evil did not exist, but
It's
maybe it just wasn't as reported, right? I mean, this could have been
exactly. We
happening
didn't have
all
the
along.
technology. We
Yeah,
didn't. I mean, I think back to the beginning of time. It's always, like books in the Bible are very, pretty true about how they, went and took out each other.
oh, for sure.
The tribes. They're just, always war. There's always been.
And that's always one of the primary, for Christian apologists, right? One of the
Yeah.
hardest things to defend about Christianity is how it's caused so much war and death
Oh
and
man.
all of that,
Yeah.
right? I mean, people will
Mm.
bash Christianity into eternity for spread of disease, colonization, all these things.
Yeah. Man's
But
nature.
they're right.
Yeah.
Their fear is what prevents them from having this new life.
Yeah.
They have these fears and they think it's end times and they don't see the life-giving nature of, um,
Oh,
you know, just eternal destiny.
yeah. Well, back to the thing, more things change, the more they stay the same, but it isn't necessarily the same soul, or individual. It's new all the time. So that's kind of the cool thing I think, for me
Yeah.
to understand that it's all things are created for God's pleasure, but yet there is no hot or cold. We're evolving and moving in and moving out on Jacob's ladder,
Mhm.
new in, new out. And that's kind of the thing, though, going to the world in the book of Revelation is the thinking that it's the world, which, like you said, from the beginning, it's always been the end times. And why were the disciples asking Jesus, when will be the end of the age? you know,
Right.
the age,
Yeah.
it's only been what to their time, who knows, 100 years that they might have recorded for themselves or whatever. Perspective, it's really cool. But we're all still cavemen too. I mean, for the most part, new a new soul coming into a body whose DNA is whatever, but still only going to use 10% of its brain, right? Or
Mm.
whatever, until you don't, until you're able to gain that access. As children, they, I think, use much of their brain. Sponges for 3 years.
Yeah. And just, becoming able to communicate so quickly, right?
Yeah.
Fluency
Yeah.
in multiple languages so fast.
Yeah.
Mm. But yeah, one of the principles that I think for the people who are stuck in the world, right, is right speech, right, the Brutus principle, right speech, right action, right. If you talk about things in an incorrect manner, calling it end times, right, your actions aren't going to follow suit,
Right. Right. Yep.
you know. So, like, if that's what you're focused on, then you're not really focusing on how to be part of the solution.
Yeah. And you're
You're
not looking
blaming, you're
within.
kind of blame
Yeah.
shifting, right?
Yeah. And that means that you're still, well, people looking at the world for the world to change. I don't care if it's religion or spirituality or whatever, because I hear all this, the
Whatever
planet's going to
moves the needle,
change to
right?
5D or whatever, it's going to, whatever. If you're focused on the world, that's what you're going to be. You're going to get the world. You're going
Yeah.
to, it's leaven, it's leaven. But when you realize the kingdom is within and all of that stuff is about the world that you live in, that Jesus said, they say was a temple because of Jesus, and we're joint heirs. That's how to interpret the book of Revelation, in my opinion, is to think of it for yourself as your body being the earth. And either all of the Bible, in the beginning the world was void, the body was void, and then the soul breathed into it and it became alive, right? And then went through all the different
Inspired.
stages.
Became
Yeah.
inspired.
And then, like, I believe um, came through for me was the seals in the Revelation being unsealed are about a soul's eternal life. You live in the first seal, which is the first chakra. You live in the second seal, is and the oil comes up and it
Right.
raises Christ with the oil, and as the oil raises and it gets into your third eye, then boom.
Seventh heaven.
Yep, exactly. Yep. And then the crown. The dove
Amen.
comes down and God says, "This is my child in whom I'm well pleased." And he's talking about Christ consciousness that we
Christ
become.
is ascended. Yeah.
Yeah, we become. We become. That's what the resurrection is, people. That's what it's all about. That's what Jesus showed us. It's about yourself in you. You believe on Jesus and what he did, and you can do those things and greater. That is all that should matter. It's
Amen.
all that should matter. But I say should, but I don't really mean should. It's okay, whatever. But because I know that
Yes, you're gonna
everybody's
live your
climbing the
life.
ladder.
Yep.
Yeah, you're on your ladder. You're going to experience your stuff, whatever that is, and it's going to be what it's going to be. So it's kind of like a wasted words, but I like doing it. I like to discuss
Yeah.
philosophy.
As you've heard us say, right? This is really about, kind of having dialogue so that other people can share what their experience is. And we love Collins. We love people who want to challenge or debate or simply, share. Like,
Yeah,
what's your
share the
experience
love.
been? Have you gone within and asked, could this be true for me? Any
Yeah,
any of the topics that we bring up, could this be true for me? Ask it for yourself.
yeah,
Does my eternal soul see it this way? And so, yeah, you'll know when you get an answer because
yes,
the truth is that yeah, the truth is always made known. So
yeah.
you
And
will
you're
know.
gonna go through your life, and it's gonna be done as it's gonna be done. Nothing you can do to change it to anything that's ever been, because it's all happening now, right? There is no time or space except in these suits. Pretty cool suits.
Yeah,
Perfect.
revelations. I love the seals coming through, and then I know that you've talked more about like the beast with all the eyes,
Oh yeah, the
what
beasts, the
that
four beasts.
represents. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, four
maybe
beasts
share a
with all
little.
the eyes.
Yeah,
Oh,
share a little
it's
on
just
that.
an example of somebody that's gotten to, well, it can be Jesus. We'll use Jesus as an example. Jesus became, well, there's two, so it's talking about a person basically. It's what you look like when you've ascended. It's like Moses carrying down the Ten Commandments. He wasn't carrying down these laws. It's what he became because he became a whole eye. He had one with God. So that's what he was. So basically, it's just a natural course of, um,
Yeah, I think maybe just as a refresher for folks to, kind of be reintroduced to those two concepts, whole-eyed and
yeah, okay, yeah. Um, well, real quick,
at
just to
one.
the,
I mean, because we get
it's
it. We're talking about ascension. We're talking about right
right,
raising our
right,
our consciousness to Christ consciousness
yeah,
through meditation and having that experience where it's like everything all at once is what we refer to as atonement or at one moment where
yeah.
everything's made real. Like you understand that, God is everything, that there is nothing else
Well,
except the vibration of
I
love.
yeah, thank you. I had a revelation,
Nice.
no pun intended,
Pun totally intended.
of why it's whole eye, whole eye, whole eye. You know why it's holy, holy, holy three?
Hmm.
Because that's a trinity. Okay,
Yeah.
so what are you? What are you? You're your Celeste, right? What is Celeste? Celeste is a yin and yang soul, right? So there's one whole eye, it's yin and yang. That's one that became that when it created you, so to speak. So Celeste became yin and yang, right? Split.
Hmm.
And then you are a three-part being because you have the soul, which is that soul that is a trinity.
Celeste. Yeah.
You have a brain and a heart, and you have the soul. So you're a trinity. When you're
Hmm.
trinity at ones, which is your heart and your brain agree, which your brain says, "Oh, I know it's God," yes, and then you allow God to take over, and or you become a witness to what your life is.
Hmm.
You at one. That's at one minute. So you're a trinity. It's three because then you have your split apart that is also a trinity the same with a brain and a heart. That's the three trinities. That's the full trinity. God does not exist without consciousness, without us, without a brain to decipher the mind. Now, how the first one was created, I do not know, but it has become that. And that's what Jesus did when he ascended. He he took his brain and his heart. So he still has a brain and a heart. He still has a mind that reasons, that is also love, the heart in oneness. And it's by the soul. What's the soul? The soul is God, which is love completely. Whole I, whole I, whole I. That's God Almighty. You're split apart, is your whole soul, but it's active and it's receptive. Wow, I didn't think I'd
Beautiful.
say something like that.
Oh, great share.
Wow.
It's a great
And
share.
then, but the reason Christ's truth raises in the wilderness is within us. We live in the wilderness. When Moses went into the wilderness, when Jesus went into the wilderness, it was the place between ego life and spiritual life because Jesus just came out of the water. He just got the spiritual baptism of Christ. And then he still went to the wilderness and had to fight with himself, so to speak. It wasn't a devil, it was a symbolic of him dealing with his ego death.
Hmm.
He, he was that wanting. His brain was still saying, hey, we can use this and rule the world. We can, we don't have to fast. We can make bread out of the stone, that kind of stuff. That's his mind. Can you, can you imagine yourself in that situation? I've been there. I think I've
Oh
done
my
that
gosh.
myself, you know?
Ego usually wins, actually.
It does if you argue with it.
Yep.
It's just like a kid, but then it wins because it's supposed to win,
Hmm.
because there is no mistake. You're run by ego because in the Bible where it says where Moses was told to put a serpent on a stake and put it up in the in the wilderness, it was for the people. That's ego. That's because he was still ego. He just came out of Egypt, right? His reincarnations were in Egypt in bondage. And then in this reincarnation, he was starting to wake up. And so God, he could see the top of the mountain, right? That's what it represents. My life looking back was in bondage. Your life looking back was in bondage. You
Oh
were
yeah.
in Egypt. And
That's
then
why we. That's why we went over that poem.
yeah, and then the one came. And it's the one that, killed the Egyptian and it's fighting for its understanding and it's going to go in and it's been in the wilderness and it's seen the mountain, it's climbed the mountain, it's gotten the name and it's, now it's living the 10 commandments, we're still human, but we are because the 10 commandments are not as they seem. It's something for distraction. God is love,
Yeah.
God is love. So
Not a
what does
punitive
love do?
God.
It's way more than 10 things, it's love, infinite. So anyway, but who's doing the raising? Okay, so then Jesus says the Son of Man must be raised in the wilderness. Okay, so here's the ego in the wilderness, right? So the Son of Man has to be raised up. Who raises it? It's God because it's a soul, because the soul is evolving with each life, with each existence. it grows, it gains, and it fills in energy. That's the oil. The tree of life is these olives, these spacesuits. Feel the beating?
For
It
sure.
is always it is always being beaten too. It always is. What it's doing is raising Christ in the wilderness. It's flowing. It's flowing Christ in the wilderness. And if it's a new soul, Christ exists because you wouldn't exist. Nothing would exist without Christ. And understanding wouldn't exist without Christ. It's consciousness. It's a form of consciousness. It's an energy, which we've said many times, but some things need to be repeated over and over.
We're just reminding ourselves.
Exactly. Yep.
What was I thinking about? I was trying to remember a conversation I was having. Just to, like people confuse what the church is, as a building and, kind of all those analogies, right? The church isn't a
Yeah.
building, the church is the people, the church is, you know, so
Yeah.
take the church to the people. So, right. And I love churches that behave like that really do just love on people,
Yeah.
no matter where they're at, you don't have to come to the church to get loved on.
No, exactly. And see, that's the thing. When people ask, when in the Bible where they ask Jesus if Elias returned, which is Elijah, if Elijah, I mean, because Elijah was supposed to return and whatever, and Jesus said Elijah will come and blah blah blah, and says, but Elijah already did. I mean, Elias already did come. It just wasn't understood. And then says that it was John the Baptist. That's the way it works. It's not understood. People are looking for Elijah, a man, because that's all ego could imagine, right? It's like,
Mm,
why is God imagined as a white haired old man?
mm.
Because people have to imagine a physical being. They can't understand
That has to
that
come
God is
back.
spirit.
That has to show up physically. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. And so
it's like
that's
so
what I call
backwards.
thinking in the box, right? Trying to figure out the box from inside the box. And if
Okay.
the box is closed, all you see is the box, and that's kind of like science. Science is studying inside that box. The lid's not open, right?
Mm,
Except in some. And then for like somebody spiritual that's looking spiritually, they may have the box open, but they're still looking at the box. They're still in there looking at the walls of the box, kind of seeing that the thing is open, but they can't get out.
wow.
And then so when you can get out and see that there really is no box, because when you feel your eternity, this is just a speck. It doesn't even exist. It doesn't even vibe.
Mm,
It does somewhere down the line, but it's just a part of
mm,
it. That's the thing to imagine, is the expansiveness like that, of that there's no end. It's infinite. And when you can get to that feeling and then look at this life that you are and that I am, and say, I'm an eternal being, and feel what that eternity means. Try to feel what eternity feels like. What does eternity feel
yeah.
like? You can
So
feel
good.
it.
It's so
You
good.
can, you can feel eternity. You can get in there, and when you do, you can see that this person sitting here is like, you know, it's a speck. It doesn't even
Mm,
matter in the whole of things. It's just
mm,
here. But if you get to where Jesus is and you rapture like he did, and you don't have to be killed like he did, but you do have to die. It says man has one but once to die. Jesus died that one time, and then he went into the seventh heaven, and he did it with his body, and that's the example for us.
mm,
We are to, of course, you can't do it if you don't have the oil, because you'll hear the call when you do have the oil, and you'll go to the altar and marry the bridegroom. The bridegroom is Christ, and you go back to yourself. You go back to the yin and yang soul that you are, and you're. I mean, I felt it. I felt it, in the mind of your soul. You will exist in the mind of your eternal soul that
Hmm.
is everything. So
Yeah.
like if this person here was able to tap into that mind of my soul completely, this person would disappear into everything else because our soul is a part of everything and it's all at once. And you can feel that. You can feel it.
Yeah, I
Oh,
think that's a reason why there's such a surge in interest about mindfulness. I know, like, right, we're just coming out of Mental Health Month, or right, what, right, or Mental Health Awareness Month, and I think people felt really sketchy about their mental health after all the tragedies of last month,
yes.
last
Again,
few
yeah,
tragedies, and
yeah,
the point of bringing that up is really that, right, when you're mindful, when you're in the moment, you are presencing God for whoever, for yourself, for the people that are feeling you being present, right? They're feeling that perfect love, and we want more of that. We want, it's really about, like, okay, you've had a taste of what it's like to quiet yourself, to go within, but you need a little bit further to go, right? You just need to go a little
yes,
bit deeper and understand this idea of, like, kind of slowing down into the green pastures, and then ascending to the next level, which is like really slowing your brain down, but have that connection to everything all at once. And for me, I've talked about it multiple times with surfing. Like, everything slows down, everything happens in a millisecond, but
yes.
right, you're connected to
But
all of
slow,
it.
yeah,
Yeah, but you're
yes.
connected to all of it, and it's just, a short
Now,
ride's gonna feel, yeah, a short ride's gonna feel like it went forever, but it was like, because you were so present with it. And those glimpses of when you get into these meditative states that we're talking about, um, where you're in the witness state and you're seeing yourself as God sees you, and then move into Christ consciousness, and you're in the throne room, right? You just That's the real deal. I mean, that is
yeah.
when you once you have a glimmer of that, there's really no turning back.
Does that scare people to
You know,
think
I
of giving up
I think
their
I think that
individuality?
well, I think that all life begins when fear ends.
Hey, there you go.
I
Wow.
think, like, even for and I don't know that it's fear, but I feel like, right,
No, it is. Yeah.
childbirth, right?
Hmm.
They're sitting there, they've just come out of their mom's belly. They're kind of fat and happy, right? They still got the cord, they're still getting fed. I feel uncomfortable, right? And then
Yeah.
someone slaps him in the ass, and then bam, I'm afraid. Now I'm afraid. What the hell's going on? Now I'm gonna cry. Now I'm stuck in this fear. Like, who's gonna slap me down next?
Yeah, I've never heard ever anybody think about that. That is so correct. The
But
first
right,
slap. Yeah.
when we know that, right, God's never gonna slap you.
Shake, nudge the baby a little bit, and put it in its mom's arms.
God's not gonna slap you down. God's gonna kiss you on one cheek and then kiss you on the other. He's gonna
and
kiss you a second, third time on the lips, and then squeeze you. I mean, there's no reason to fear any of this.
no,
I'll
and
just
guess
mention.
what?
Go ahead.
It's God.
Yeah, it is. It is, because
It's
I got all puckered up today. I'm gonna just tell another quick story about being in the ocean, because, right, it was a big day today. It was said 4 to 6 when I got there. It was easily 6 to 8. It's some really big ones coming through.
ooh,
Energy was huge. Just choppy white water out in the bay, but a little better texture where I was. Anyway, I see a big ass harbor seal, not just one of these sea otter pups. Those are always fun to see when they're close by and they're eating. They're floating.
oh
I
yes,
love that
yes.
moment. But this was a seal, like full big ass human head size seal, right? And he
Wow.
popped up close and he looked at me. He started coming right at me, and I just said to him, "I think that's close enough." And then,
Wow.
I was feeling a little puckered, right? I'm like, I think you're getting close enough. And then, he ducked, and I just started whistling. Like, okay, that's all good. He's gone. But,
Yeah.
for a moment there, right?
Yep.
I got a
Yep.
little
Oh, I'm
puckered
telling
there.
you.
So fear, and then all at once, it's gone and it's good, and I'm on the wave. And,
Yeah.
you know, I'm
Yeah.
not thinking about anything that's scary. Nothing's scary in that moment. Even though,
No.
right, it's 12, tons of water about to crash on me, literally.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway,
Wow.
just
Yeah, I can
the
relate with
fear
the seal.
factor.
Yeah.
People
Yeah.
people get nutted up about all kinds of things. I think going within, finding the true freedom in seventh heaven is, that's why we do the podcast, right? We just want people to explore it for
Yeah.
themselves and see, like I always say in my counseling sessions, your results may vary, right? Your
Yeah.
mileage,
Yeah.
your mileage may vary, but right, why not try
Yeah.
it and see if it's everything that I've said it could be for you? Then I think you're going to be, freaking mind blown.
And something I would say to people is, and I don't know why I may have I've said it kind of before, but not like this. But try looking at everybody in the world, no matter where it is, on TV, on the news, on whatever, who it is. Try looking at them with pure love. Try
Mm,
looking at them with pure love. See God in them. See if you can see God in everyone, because it is.
yeah,
You can
amen.
see it. You can see it. If you look, you'll see that God is in every one of them, and then you'll see that this is just a play. This is just a what do you call it? A screen set. It's
Green
a movie
screen?
set.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we're just actors, avatars playing in space, and God is sitting here just getting all kinds of freaking pleasure out of it. All things created by God and for God's pleasure. That is the truth.
Amen.
Everything that comes out of our mouths is not of us. And it doesn't matter what it is that comes out of anybody's mouth, it is not of us. The omnipotent, omniscient, the omnipresent. That means there is no place where God can't exist, right? I know the Bible doesn't say omnipresent, but still, it is every place. It's that when you're talking about buildings, and there's that thing that I've heard. I mean, I'm not in buildings made of stone or wood, but split a piece of wood and you'll find me. Lift a stone and there I am. And I think that's beautiful. I think that's just so amazing. So amazing.
Yeah,
I
that's
mean,
amazing.
I used to sit in a church in a pew and look up at the ceiling and, God, are you going to come? you know, I used to do that. I get that. I get that. But then I looked within and I found that, wow, that's more amazing than I ever thought that could have happened outside. There's nothing like it when your emotions balance out, your ego is out of the way, like you were saying, that fear, there's no fear, the fear just goes away. We'll get little inklings of our nature, of fear and fight or flight and stuff like that. But that's just all reflex too. Jesus said, "Do not judge. Do not judge." He was saying, "Don't judge yourself either." you know, laugh with yourself. We're
Amen.
dumbasses.
Yeah.
Where's cavemen? Nothing. The more things change, the more they stay the same. We're still cavemen. We just have, we've just developed bigger toys, better toys. But still, the mentality of a human being is still a caveman. It's It's just that we don't have to hunt. We just go to the grocery store.
Mm.
Still cavemen. But guess what? Those cavemen evolve. Those cavemen do evolve. They become like Jesus. They realize Christ consciousness because their lamp fills up. That means their soul gains experience, gets to the point where it realizes that God is within it. And then it lights up and then experiences the eternity as Jesus did when he was at the Last Supper. He was telling the future because he was sitting in it. He was a part of it. He was already there. He experienced it. And he did it in meditation. And that's what the symbol of Moses and Elijah showing up to him. He was with them. He was with all of soul. You can do that. Go within. Anybody. Just go within yourself. Ask yourself for your soul. Soul, show me what I am. Ask and receive. Seek and find. Knock and that door is already open. Knock and fall in. Top of the mountain is your head. Top of your head. It gives us little symbols of that in the Bible. Little puzzle pieces to put together. Eternity.
Mm.
God, think of eternity, just infinite. Is there any way to imagine that? Well, do the best you can. You know, do the best you can. I want, just God. I can think of it as. I mean, God, it's just this is so small. Nothing. I can feel that. I can see God in everyone, everything. All these people are griping about everything. It's supposed to be that way, but if you're ready to awaken, you'll have to come to the point where the world is a beautiful place. You don't see it as a bad place. You see it as your playground where you could act anything out and it never harmed you because you're an eternal soul. All it
Mm.
did is make you more. Kick in that magnificence. More, more green pastures, the blood of Christ. That's consciousness, theta consciousness. Know that you're an energetic being. That you're made up of energy. It's been measured.
Yeah.
How do we stick together? Whenever there's we're just single cells that are just in one. How does that happen? you know, that's all by thought. That's all by energy, by imagination. It's how in a video game that we create, that people create, it's got all those little pixels. What if those little pixels could wake up, and realize that it's a pixel, that it's not really together. We're the same. I know I'm kind of going off here, but
No, it's good. I
we're
like it
we're
when
the
you riff.
we're same. We're just these little pixels that we call atoms and molecules, and our energies. The why they stick together is by their energy. They're magnetized, and they're magnetized by the vision of our shape. The vision of me creates the vibration of the atoms in me. What creates Celeste, the same. What creates anybody and anything. And wow, I don't know, just there's no words. There's no words to feel everything all at once. And the most amazing thing is to be in a body like this that's still human, but to be able to go within to the kingdom and be a part of that eternity. There's nothing like it. I mean, of course, there's nothing like it. The only thing that's like it is the experience of those that have gone before. Jesus, Elijah, and if you're a Bible person and you believe that it's only three people, that it's Enoch, Elijah, and Jesus. But that's not true. Those were all just symbolic and examples. Ye are gods, joint heirs to the kingdom. We are spiritual beings having a physical experience so we can gain experience. The more we experience polarity, good and evil, right and wrong, hot, cold, up, down, limitation, and then the limitation part, you go within and you feel unlimited. You feel no limitation. You feel eternity. And that's how the ascension begins. And that's how it ends. We end in that eternity. We end in that energy, but we're still using 100% of our brain, but in a high vibration. The vibration is too fast. Jesus is right here. Everybody is right here. Everybody that's ever done that is right here, right with us. We just can't see them because they're at a high vibration and they don't have limitation of space and time. But we can go to that place. And don't believe me, just
Ask
go
if it's
within.
true for yourself. Yeah.
Exactly. Go within yourself. If you're a Bible person, the if you believe the Bible, believe that the kingdom is within. Jesus said, "I'm joint. You're joint heirs. We are the prodigal children. We can come home and we can have that same inheritance. Joint heirs. Believe on Him and the things that He did, and we will do those things and greater." He wasn't saying that He was something higher or better. When the man came up to him and said, "Good master," he said, "Don't call me good. There's nothing good. There's nobody good but God." That was Jesus that said that.
Come on. Keep
He
going.
said that the temple would be taken down in 3 days and rebuilt. And it was his body that he was talking about. If he's talking about his body being a temple and we're joint heirs and we are God's, then we are living in temples. This body is a temple. And this body, this temple, can be the temple in the seventh heaven. And that's what's described in Revelation 4. That's what it's like. There's the throne, there's the rainbow of consciousness all around it, there's the sea of glass like unto crystal before it, because that's what it's about. It's what the life is about. And the meditation that I do with people, I take to that place that it's not like a sea, but it's like whiteness everywhere.
Mm.
But it is like that sea of glass and like unto crystal, but we see it as like a whiteness because it's potential. God is no thing. We are the thing. We are the experience of God. There's no God and there's God conscious or unconscious God and conscious God. It's that simple. And I know that's not easy, but it's simple.
Good. I think, did you talk about the message to the world? Is the book of Revelation a
Well,
message to the
no,
world?
no, yeah, I was just saying that if you're reading it for what it means to the world, you miss the mark. I mean, then all you're going to get is what it means to the world,
Right.
if
Okay.
it means anything. But that's been out for shoot. So now I hear that the Bible came out 300 years or something like that after Jesus. And so ever since that time, everybody's thought it's the end of the age. Why? Because there are natural disasters, there were wars, there were rumors of wars, there were all these different things going on from the beginning of that.
Right.
So here's 2,000 some years later, and everybody's still looking for that same thing. They're still reading that book of Revelation. They're saying, "See, it means this. It
Mm.
means this. It means that." When I was a
Right.
born again Christian, watching those Christian shows, they're saying, "In the Bible, this means Russia, and Russia's doing this over here in Afghanistan, and blah blah." And so that was the end times.
Yep.
They're doing the same exact thing right now. The
Yep.
same exact thing. No different.
Korea's firing missiles while we're not looking.
Same, same, same. And maybe the world's going to change, but what happens to that world? I mean, I don't wish that on this world because that would mean billions of people would have to, they wouldn't be able to exist here if this world became a peaceful place. It just, people do not, our souls do not come here for paradise. They come here for good and evil. They come here to feel darkness, to feel light. I mean, when I say that stuff, my soul just rejoices. I just feel my soul all giddy, like, oh God, what a wonderful life. You know?
Yeah.
And that's so true. God, what a wonderful eternal life. It's eternity. It's already exists. There is no hell. There is no place of heaven. It's a consciousness. It's within yourself. You're
I
already
think,
there.
yeah, I think the part where people were going to get caught up is when we talk about that it's all for God's pleasure,
I know. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
That's the one
Especially at times like now.
contention point for folks where, well, how
Yeah.
could God receive any pleasure from
Yeah.
this
And
level of evil?
and then so
Again, but that's a judgment, right?
no, no, let's call on a spade a spade. It's just the way it is. A judgment would be to say you're wrong for thinking that way. That's a judgment. Or to say that's bad to think or whatever. But you can say that that's the way it is because it is. It's the way it is. And it's supposed to be that way. I mean, this planet, if it stays like this forever, we're not going to be a part of it. It's kind of like this body that we're in. In 100 years, it's not going to matter. 100 years ago, it didn't even exist. So just think of it kind of like that. Of um, this is just temporary. The experience of it is just temporary. But if a soul doesn't have this place for its evolution, for its experiencing and its growth, I mean,
Right.
from what I understand, this is the best place for it. This is the place every soul wants to be. The but the people, the judgment is to think that this is wrong, that the world is wrong, and the Bible. If you're any kind of religion, you might think that in some form that they're nothing but evil. It's all bad. Even people doing good things in some religions are considered bad because they don't do a certain thing or things a certain way. That's why everybody looks so different. That's why it's all different. How many times have you gone through your life and thought, what am I? you know I know I have. I don't know if everybody does that, but you know what am I? Why am I here? Do I really want to do this? you know
Yeah. I used to ride all the way up to top of Los Gatos, look out over the valley, and say, "Why? What is the point of being here?"
yeah, yeah, yeah. And that very question is what brought me the answers. It was also asking about being a god, but
Fun stuff.
yeah, yeah, felt really, really wonderful.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to re-listening to this one because you went pretty deep in a couple spots.
Yeah, I don't even know what was said,
Yeah,
so
no, it's
I
beautiful.
had no idea where it was going to go.
Yeah, well, you and
But
I both. Like, it feels like that's how I
yeah,
started off too.
yeah. But then when you made that phone call, and it took me just a split second to think, yeah, 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 let's do it. It's already there.
Yeah,
Yeah, let's do it. So we haven't done this for quite a few weeks. I went on a
yeah,
crazy adventure, and then I guess I've done a lot of pondering. It's all I pretty
mhm,
much had to do the whole time. Driving while we were where we were, and then driving back, and then doing yard work. So all
yeah,
I've been doing is pondering and stuff going through my head, and
yeah.
then I my yeah, I guess I'll say it. My daughter, she's going through this situation to where she's really coming so far, so
Amazing.
amazing,
Yeah.
and having to learn to let go, and you know, and also learning that who creates this life,
Mm.
coming to terms with that, and it's really beautiful, really beautiful. Breathing in and breathing out, as we all need to do,
Yeah.
but each time coming around to a higher place.
Yeah, I feel like we had to do that around here too with, a new month coming, our mother coming back to be with us for the month with a new puppy in the house and
Yeah,
a big puppy in the house. So it's going to be interesting, but we're just going to trust and know that it's perfect provision and
yeah,
everything will be taken care of.
yeah. And of course, the puppies will be perfect. Just they'll see that tiger.
Yes, that's right. Gloria will have her way.
Yes.
Yeah, I want to work on that tonight, maybe. Just invite her in meditation to meet them right now and kind of share with her that this meeting was of God, by God, for God, and for everyone's pleasure.
Yes. Yes.
Welcome, Mary. Looks like we had someone join the room late. You've caught up with the Lion and Celeste, Christ Truth Reveal, been talking about just the idea of the book of Revelation and our thoughts about it and what the message really could be if you were to seek with your eternal soul mind's point of view.
And I guess kind of went into, well, I don't know what went into.
It'll be a good listen, we promise.
Yeah, just talking about the difference of eternity and
And as a reminder to any listeners still on the line, we don't typically podcast this late on a Sunday. We've gotten away from that. We do some more midweek stuff, usually on Wednesdays. Try to do something in the we're both on the west coast of the U.S., so trying to make that time slot work for people back east, and so on and so forth. But yeah, lots to listen to in the archives, and that's not to get you to um, give us some more plays or likes or anything like that. We don't do any of this for those reasons. If you get a pop up saying to lend your support by sending a gift, please don't do that. We're not about that. But if you get in the archives and you want to learn a little more about the meditations we discussed, episode 20, that's the gold. That's where you'll find some good provision, help connect you with Christ consciousness through meditation.
yep. And that was Celeste speaking, just in case anybody's wondering. And this is the Lion.
Yeah, and thanks for chiming in. So we always love it
Yes.
when people do want to call in. We have an open mic policy. We're not here to dissuade anybody from sharing their truth about what Christ has revealed to them. So feel free to jump in anytime, maybe next time.
Yeah,
I think
we're
we're
just
pretty
here
much
to
wrapping up.
tell y'all what you are. Ye are gods. Ye are joint heirs. Your body is a temple, and you can go within to the kingdom within, and you can believe on Jesus and the things that he did and become what he became. Whole I, whole I, Lord God Almighty. And I guess I'll say good night.
Cool. Yeah. Thanks for joining again. Appreciate it. It's fun.
Yeah. Thanks for calling. Yep.
Awesome. All right, brother.
And
Aloha. Peace.